So, Iman, I suppose we need to commit to a journey by taxi, you and I, to do the Full View show on a taxi maybe one of these days. Matlako really wanted, us to get a sense of what it feels like. It's been quite a number of years. But let's stay with, news from the roads. We're speaking to the Deputy Minister of Transport, Lisa Mangcu, who joins us in studio right now. Thank you so much, Deputy Mangcu. Let's start with your overview of the situation. We just got it from our reporter's vantage point, talking about obviously this particular area, stretch of road on the N1. What are you observing so far when you look at this, the beginning of the Easter weekend?
Thank you very much, Bongiwe. Good evening. Good evening to the viewers at home. Amazing where your reporter is. I just came from there as I came into studio. I was there at Kranscorp earlier. The observation has been that, as she rightfully says, there's been a peak in traffic. We have seen traffic picking up quite early this morning. It stabilized around 12 midday. And as we go into studio now, the volumes are slightly gone down. And we anticipate that around 2000 hours, the traffic would have stabilized, by that meaning coming to normal. We have had one unfortunate incident at the N3 De Hoek Toll Plaza southbound, where a pedestrian has fatally, unfortunately, been killed by a speeding driver. It's one way we wouldn't like to start such a weekend. The observation has been the traffic patterns are slightly lower than last year, comparatively speaking. And one of the reasons we believe is that the school holidays have already started. So many people would have gone to their destinations already. We believe the price of fuel and the high economic living, people don't have enough money, could have contributed. But overall, we have seen quite good behavior. There's quite a lot of traffic, but we have not picked up any impatient drivers.
Let's stay with, what you talk about is the unfortunate incident, and pedestrian incidents are also worrying. How concerned are you about that? Because we see it over the years, and it looks like something that is becoming an area of serious concern.
We are very concerned about pedestrian safety, and it's one of the focus areas this Easter weekend. We want to make it a daily occurrence. Pedestrians are not always visible, because most of the pedestrians that are killed by vehicles are at places where they should not have been. So, which is very concerning. Where they happen to be there, they are not visible to the motorists. So it is a major concern. It is always quite high, the number of pedestrians that get killed on our roads.
Are you finding that the trend, especially when you say that, things stabilized somewhat around 12 o'clock and picked up a little bit, and you're expecting that come 8 o'clock things will be a little bit more stable? And you talk about the school holidays, but is it also about the fact that people are now learning to travel much earlier on in the day as well, in order to be able to avoid some of what we've seen over the years during the day?
Yes, we believe our message is getting to the people that let's travel while it's broad daylight. I can be able to see and be visible. Yes, we are seeing quite in the morning, we saw a lot of families traveling, which meant people would have planned their travel, which is one of our key messages. Plan your travel, rest where Matako is, take a break, and then continue from there.
And when we then look at, in terms of visibility, let's talk about, the police, because we've seen over the years that it's not only, the traffic police that would be on the roads. There does appear to be a multi kind of disciplinary approach, with almost every hand that can be possible, to be found to be on deck. So how are things looking on the visibility side? Because we heard one of the drivers there saying that in some of the areas they may not be.
Visibility has been quite good. There can never be enough visibility, because it's highly impossible that on every square meter of the road you can put a traffic official. Hence, we rely mostly on people taking road safety as their own responsibility. But to the best that we can, there has been enough deployment, which is scientific, based on previous trends, previous places where there have been problem areas. In Limpopo, for instance, where the reporter is, there are traffic officers every 10 kilometers. That is what we are promoting in all areas, so that people can always be reminded that you are being watched. So yes, the visibility is always there, but our message is always simple. Visibility and police on their own cannot stop road carnages. But the support, as you say, and the cooperation with all spheres of government, the South African police services, is very commendable, and we really appreciate what they are doing.
While they're commendable, one of the drivers there says they're asking for ichocho, which is a bribe.
It's something that continues to worry us, not only on the roads. Even when people obtain driving licenses and obtain their roadworthy certificates, through the Road Traffic Management Corporation, we've got a unit that is specializing, undercover unit, to catch them out. And our message is very simple. You might not take that Jojo for too long. We will get to you. And we want our people to be vocal, refuse to give anybody Jojo, and be vocal about it, because only then will we be able to respond.
It's been a problem though for years now. So it almost feels like while the unit is there, but essentially years later we're still complaining about it. We're still hearing motorists talk about how it's becoming a problem still on the road. So is this unit effective at all? Because if someone is still able to take ichocho in 2023, it simply means we're not getting to the bottom of the problem.
Once more, Bongiwe, it's just the same as petty crime. While we can have as many police as we want to have, but as long as people are not conscious, are not taking their civil responsibility not to commit crime, it's not the number of police that will stop. So yes, we have caught a couple of people. Yes, we wish we could catch quite more, but they are effective, I can tell you. But I think the problem is too big. That's where it is. The problem is too big. And that's why we will need everybody to cooperate. It doesn't need to go to a level where people need to be arrested to stop. But that consciousness that says, especially the young drivers, the young people that will say, I refuse to pay a bribe. That is the message that should be there. I refuse to take a bribe. And that I wish many of us could take up.
And when you look at the Limpopo numbers, obviously the pilgrimage to the ZCC church also not taking place, but we do know that there is a smaller group that says they're going to be doing that. That also appears to have contributed to the lower numbers that we are seeing. But given the fact that there's now a group that, plans to go and hold a prayer there, are you concerned about the possibility of maybe seeing an increase in some of, the volume there?
Yes, we are. Like in many other major routes. And maybe let's take the opportunity on behalf of government to wish all South Africans, especially those who believe, Christians, in this Easter weekend, a safe and peaceful Easter weekend. Yes, we do expect, and our plans include exactly taking care of those areas. In the last couple of years, I don't know when last you have been there, maybe Mahlako will get there, the road has been improved in that area. There's been enough parking. So there has been. If we all behave, if we all drive responsibly, there shouldn't be problems. But one of the observations, Bongwe, that you asked me, we have been seeing an increase in average people who are exceeding the speed limit. Today we're in the region of 29% people exceeding the speed limit. It's a major concern to us. Because it is through these speeding people, especially on conditions that are unfavorable, that cause these crashes. So that's one thing we've picked up today, that the average speed or exceeding the speed limit has increased quite dramatically.
And that is worrying, especially when you look at, some of the areas where you'd have, the rain. But before I let you go, we're out of time. Let's talk about, one of the issues around the threats of a bus strike by NUMSA coming into the weekend, calling on some of the commuters to find alternative means of transport. How worried is government about that situation that's unfolding there?
It can have two effects. It can have an effect of lesser traffic on the road, which could be a positive one. But the negative part is that many people might try to find alternative by all means, maybe tempting people to overload and so forth. So yes, from that angle, we are concerned. On the other angle, we are hopeful that the responsible people, the bus associations and so forth, will find an amicable way of resolving this, as people always look forward to this period to go home to be with their loved ones.
All right, Deputy Minister, thank you so much for stopping by. I know you're going back on the roads. Thank you so much for stopping by. That was the Deputy Minister of Transport, Lisa Mangcu, giving us a sense of how things are looking on the roads. Please be safe, exercise caution, especially if you're going to be driving at night.